Hey, what's up everybody and welcome to 2024. I'm back with another video finally, and 2024 and 2023 have been pretty crazy in terms of technology, especially when we talk about like AI and stuff. It's absolutely mind-blowing where AI is going or heading in the years to come, and already is at the moment, right? But what about laptops? What about technology in laptops? Well, ASUS seems to nail it this time for dual screen laptops, and I think this ASUS's ZenBook Duo is going to change the laptop scene by quite a lot, because I can't really imagine a laptop nowadays without this technology, which ASUS's brand spanking new 2024 ZenBook Duo has, which is the dual screen display, right? But this time it's near perfect. It's like almost perfection here. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about this thing, and I'm gonna try and cover most of the stuff that you would wanna know about this thing. So if you're interested, stick around. But first of all, as always, I took it out of the box, right? Nothing really crazy fancy here, but we do find the charger and the stylus pen, which also comes with some different sizes of the ball header, right? And this entire thing is charged by a single 65 watt USB-C charger. Very simplistic stuff here, but if it helps keep the cost down, I really don't care, how fancy the packaging is, right? Oh, and you might be wondering, like, how expensive is this thing, right? Well, I looked around and it should come into stores at around 1,500 euros or $1,500. So it's not that expensive, but there are like, I think there are like two separate configurations of this thing. So one comes with a 1080p screen and one with a 3K screen, which I have here right now. And the only real bigger downside that I saw for myself personally is that it only comes with an, I think the cheaper option even comes with a different Intel video card, but the 3K version, which is the supposedly the most powerful version, does come with an Intel Arc GPU. So yeah, this thing is not really for gaming, but we can still game on this thing, as we're gonna check out a little bit later in the benchmarking section. So the specs, my review unit that I got my hands on for a couple of weeks had the brand spanking new Intel Core Ultra 9 185H CPU in it, which has a total of 16 cores, 6 performance, 8 efficient and 2 brand new low power efficient cores. Max turbo can jump up to 5.1 GHz while doing heavier 3D tasks. For the video card, as I mentioned earlier, this thing has an Intel Arc graphics card in it, which is powerful enough for your work tasks, but really struggles with gaming. In total, I found 32 GB of LPDDR5X memories soldered on the motherboard here. Again, one of the downsides, there are no extra memory slots, so you can't really upgrade to 64 GB or higher. And for storage, I found 2 TB of PCI Express 4.0 NVMe M.2 SSD, which is blazingly fast for pretty much everything that you throw at it, right? Now the best part, the screens. So this thing has not one but 2 very nice 14-inch 3K screens running at 2880 x 1800 resolution at 16:10 ratio. They are both OLED and touch screens with a response time of just 0.2 milliseconds at 120 Hz. These screens are freaking amazing. Like one of the better 14-inch OLED laptop displays that you can find out there. the deep blacks, the colors, you get pretty much everything here. So of course a laptop like this has a lot of different bits and pieces, smaller bits and pieces that you do want to know about, right? I'm gonna leave the link down in the description so you can check it out there and see if all the smaller minor detail is there for you, like all the ports and stuff like that. It does have a decent amount of ports. There was just like one USB Type A and a couple of USB-Cs, Thunderbolts. I mean, it has pretty much all the ports that you would want from a laptop, even a HDMI port. So, I mean, yeah, that's all pretty fine. But yeah, for me, I just wanted to know, like, how good is it actually when trying to do some everyday work stuff when, like, traveling, right? So I focused on that, and of course I need to send this thing to other reviewers here in East Europe part, so I don't have a lot of time with it, but the time that I did have with it, I tried to maximize and focus on the stuff that, you know, a person looking for a dual screen laptop would want to know about, right? So yeah, first thing, like opening this thing up, you wouldn't know it even has two screens, right? It has the keyboard over the second OLED screen. So you need to remove keyboard, which reveals the second OLED display panel underneath it, and then you can just raise it via the hinge, which is underneath the laptop, and perfectly raise the laptop where you want. You can of course use it as is, right? But once you raise the laptop into its meant position, right, it's just absolutely perfect. And the other thing was that you can also like flip the screens vertically, so you can use these screens both horizontally and vertically, which is really awesome, because I know a lot of people that could use both systems, right? And you don't want to like buy a separate screen just because you want a vertical screen or something like that. And as both are touch screens, it does give you a great deal of flexibility on what you want to do with it. Now, coming to some other things, I did like look around like what people thought about it in the comment sections of other like not reviews but like previews of this thing. And I did see people asking like, oh, what happens if you close it like without the keyboard? Like, I don't really understand like how can you maybe like forget to put the keyboard in before closing the laptop, but maybe you lose the keyboard or something like that, right? You can still use the touch screens, and then, you know, you can take your wireless keyboard and mouse to never use the attached keyboard that comes with the laptop, right? So yeah, you can close it pretty safely, I would say. There is a small gap that will be open on the back side of the laptop, and I don't know how much like weight would it take and to actually like maybe break something, but it does have some really tough glass on the touch screen, so it shouldn't be an issue. But I didn't see like any like these real stoppers or something between the two screens. So yeah, you can definitely close them, but I don't know like how safe is it like long term, or how much pressure can it take until it actually starts to crack the screens or something like that. But yeah, you can definitely close them and it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I wouldn't do it for a long time. But yeah, some other things that made me actually smile was the audio system. Very well done here, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone as ASUS has done the entire audio system with Harman Kardon here, and it has two built-in Dolby Atmos speakers, which do feel loud and bassy. And to some of you who want to know about the weight of this thing, it's 1.65 kg with the keyboard. That's around 3.6 pounds. Now, let's come to the benchmarking section, right? The first thing that I want to cover here and get out of the way is the webcam. So let's take a quick little peek at the web camera quality, and so you can understand, you know, how clear the audio is and how clear is the picture, right? So is it sharp? Does it have a lot of noise on the picture, on the video? And yeah, how good is the audio quality? Alright, so welcome to the Webcamera test here, and yeah, as you can see and hear, I mean, it could have been a little bit better. It's still like kind of fuzzy, it's not really that sharp, right? And the audio quality is fine for Zoom calls, but that's about it. Now, it does have also the AI noise cancellation feature, so it does only pick up your own voice if needed, right? You can also disable the AI noise cancellation. But it should help a little bit in conversations when you're like outside or something like that, right? So it wouldn't pick up like cars going by and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's time to kind of improve the video quality and audio quality of web cameras. So the web camera quality isn't that spectacular, but it is there, right? It's totally fine for Zoom calls. But yeah, the picture quality and audio quality could improve in the future, in my opinion. In my opinion, like, if I'm gonna be exact here, the picture and audio quality has been literally the same for the past decade or something. So it's time to improve the web camera quality, in my opinion. But there are some neat features here, like the ASUS's AI noise cancellation, so it will only pick up your own voice, or like voices mostly, and ditch out all sorts of music around you, or chatter right around you, so you can do your work calls a little bit more clearer, which is a pretty nice thing to have on a work laptop like this. But how about the proper benchmarks, right? How well did it perform in something like CINEBENCH or 3D Marks, maybe a game or two, right? So can you actually game on this thing as well? So yeah, first of all, let's open up CINEBENCH. So I ran through CINEBENCH R23 to see how good the CPU performs here, and yeah, for multi-core it scored 11,876 points, and for single core it got 1,321 points. I mean, it's decent, but nothing mind-blowing, considering the brand new Intel Core Ultra 9 185H CPU. But the main power behind the new Intel CPUs is the efficiency, which can be quite staggering in some situations, giving the end user a lot more hours of work time from the battery, which is what laptops are all about. And the battery performance here, you gotta see it to believe it. Two powerful OLED screens, it's pretty nuts what you can get out of the battery here, thanks to the Intel Core Ultra CPUs. More on that a little bit later. Anyway, moving on from CINEBENCH to something like CRYSTALDISKMARK, which I just used to check how the SSD is performing. And well, no real surprises here, I guess. It's pretty darn good, with 5200 megabytes of reads and 4500 megabytes of writes. You can see more precisely on the screen right now, but yeah, pretty much what you want to see from a PCI Express 4.0 M.2 SSD. But yeah, how about gaming? Can you actually play some video games on this thing? Well, yeah, of course you can, but it does have an Intel Arc GPU in it, so it's nothing like an NVIDIA RTX 4090 or something like that, or a 4070. So yeah, first of all, 3D Marks, right? I did run through 3D Mark times by Extreme, and it got a score of 1374 points, which is pretty darn low. And in 3D Mark Port Royale, I didn't bother. It's not worth it to waste my time. What I did do instead was ran Grand Theft Auto 5 benchmark at the lowest settings possible at 2880 x 1800, and well, not too bad to be honest. 48.3 frames per second for the longest plane ride pass. And yeah, of course, I guess you can like lower the resolution scaling to get a little bit higher frames per second, but yeah, you can definitely understand this thing is not really meant for gaming. I did try to play some T4 Bad, and yeah, it did seem it had like 30 to 40 frames per second when I turned everything to the lowest setting possible and also downscaled the resolution by like 50%. But because it's like a 14-inch laptop screen, you don't really notice the lowered resolution scaling that much. Now the 3D performance for me sometimes hiccured a little bit. I don't know if it was like because I was like running the games or the benchmarks like for the first time, but it did like stutter here or there, so that might like turn off some people, right? But yeah, I did notice some stuttering, and I just wanted to tell you about it here as well. But yeah, finally I did check the temperatures as well, like how high did the temperatures go while gaming and doing like heavier 3D tasks, and it seemed like the average temperature for this brand new Intel CPU was around 70 degrees Celsius. Now the peaks went to 100 degrees, but you shouldn't ever like check the peak temperatures on the brand new Intel CPUs. But then again, the same heatsink is covering the video card, and the video card also peaked to around 100 degrees, which was quite hot. And why I'm a little bit concerned here is because the second OLED screen is on top of everything. How does it affect the screen of the second OLED screen in long term? Like when you use it for hours and hours and on end, right? You have your Twitch stream on the second stream, and you're actually playing some video games on your off time on this thing, even though you have like 30 to 40 frames per second, but you're still playing and enjoying your game. Like my friend who played Gothic 1 in the early 2000s at like 5 to 15 frames per second, and he said he loved it. But he didn't have money to buy a proper PC, right? So you gotta do what you have. But yeah, how does this kind of temperature affect the second screen? I have no real idea at the moment. We need to see like people actually using it for like a year or something. And of course, these are OLED screens too, so they do tend to burn in over time, especially if it's like a PC, right, that you use, and if you use it for quite a lot of time and it has a static image, right. Of course, there are like safety stuff for OLED panels in ASUS's own software system to help reduce the burning stuff, right. But still, like, how bad will it be in a year or two of like proper use when you actually use it as a pretty much like a desktop PC? Because this thing, yeah, it is sold as a laptop, but once you like open up the display, open up both displays, put them, you know, on your desk, you can actually remove the keyboard, right, the magnetic keyboard, and put your own keyboard, which I have the ASUS ROG Claymore Duo and the ROG Chakram X, which I've been using for 2 to 3 or maybe 4 years now, and I just absolutely love these things. This combo is absolutely perfect, at least for me, and it's wireless mechanical keyboard. And when I added those things to this laptop, it literally felt that, you know, I had a desktop PC in my pocket, pretty much. Well, not in my pocket. It's not a ROG Ally, right? But it's pretty close, and it's a lot bigger screen than a ROG Ally. So yeah, for me, this thing has been pretty freaking insane. And yeah, if you're also wondering about the battery life, I did do a proper decent benchmark in terms of that as well, like a real life test, right? So I had a YouTube video, 4K YouTube video, streaming 4K video through the Wi-Fi 6. And on the second screen I had Adobe Photoshop open. So this kind of test, 50% brightness on the OLED screens and 50% volume as well, and also the music was playing all the time. And even 10, I got around 7 hours, about 7 hours of usage out of this thing. Absolutely insane. And this, I think, is just because it doesn't have an NVIDIA video card. Of course, if it were a Zephyrus now, and that's what I'm thinking. If ASUS could do their Zephyrus lineup as well now with dual screens, and we could have a 4090 in it, it could still benefit from a long-term battery life by switching from the NVIDIA video card to the Intel video card. So you could still get the same battery life, which is absolutely amazing. So I really hope they do a Zephyrus one with dual screen as well in the future. But yeah, the battery life was absolutely amazing. Like it's like 7 hours of usage. I mean, come on, it's perfect. And I mean, the one thing that I did wish was a little bit better made was the underside of the keyboard that is attached to this thing. It did feel a little bit slippery on my desk. Could perhaps use better feet if it's even possible, because the keyboard doesn't really weigh anything, right? That being said, it is still a very well built keyboard with a decent white LED backlighting. So I mean, my final verdict for this ASUS ZenBook Duo 2024 model is a perfect 10 out of 10. I mean, yeah, of course you can find some minor things that could be a little bit better here, but overall this is like the best laptop that you can buy, in my opinion, in 2024. Okay, maybe there are some other companies with dual screen displays that might fit you a little bit better than me, right? But I did do look around at some other companies, and I saw like they use like a really small keyboard or something like that. This has a full proper like nice keyboard that you can actually use, and like 2 proper 14-inch OLED screens, and these are like crystal clear, amazing 3K screens, OLED, 0.2 millisecond response time, 120 Hz. I mean, this thing has everything except for a proper video card. so that's the other thing that I would wish like would be a possibility to upgrade to at least, right? Like if there are like 2 configurations, like one is a 1080p, one is a 3K, there should be a third option. The third option has a 4090 in it as well, right? So yeah, there's definitely stuff to do with this thing, but it's early days for dual screens, and I think now finally ASUS has pretty much nailed the format that should go forward for every laptop. So hopefully Zephyrus models will also support dual screens like this, that will have like a monster video card in it as well. Anyway, this has been my video review of the ASUS ZenBook Duo 2024, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments section. Thanks for watching, see you soon. Ciao for now.